Another important situation where the WKB method could be applied with privilege is in the explanation of a purely quantum mechanical phenomenon referred to as the quantum tunneling, or simply speaking, say tunneling, which is a phenomenon that is being exploited for giving an explanation to alpha decay that involve the process of emission of helium nuclei by radioactive nuclei when they are subjected to natural or induced or artificial radioactive decay. And the significance of this phenomenon is that in alpha decay, the helium nuclei are, say, being emitted from the nucleus, which is a bound system having a tremendously large attractive potential. These alpha particles occupying such a very large potential, or a region of strong potential, will never have sufficient energy to get penetrated out of the surface of the nucleus or boundary of the nucleus. Though these alpha particles occupying within the nuclei have energy less than the energy required to overcome the barrier or the potential barrier provided by the boundary of the nucleus, they are found to be emitted. This is a situation where particles having energy less than the potential energy are found to be coming out of the potential barrier under the assumption that they have crossed the barrier. Classically, no such a system can be found on the other side of the barrier if the energy of this penetrating particle is less than the energy provided by the potential barrier. However, quantum mechanically this happens. You can have some wonderful explanation for this phenomenon if the population of alpha particles within the nuclei is so high, they are in a state of constant random motion, on the course of which they will be undergoing successive collision with each other at a very high frequency, such that at some point of time they might have acquired sufficient amount of energy to penetrate through the barrier. Anyway, this involves a situation where particle having energy less than the potential energy of the barrier will be coming out of the barrier. Of course, you can have a physical intuition about the situation. Perhaps the particles might have penetrated through the barrier, so that there is no question of, say, jumping or hopping over the potential barrier. We will now consider a mathematical explanation for this kind of a situation on the basis of, say, the knowledge that we have acquired through the discussion about the WKB approximation. For that, consider a potential barrier having a definite height. This height is being represented by means of the height of this potential barrier. Let this potential is, say, having a definite peak height somewhere here. I will be completing this figure shortly. And let this be the width of this potential barrier. Say W corresponds the width of the potential barrier. And let's assume that we have a lot of particles occupying this region, and these particles are assumed to have a total energy which is a constant that is being marked as, say, somewhere here, and this is the potential or nature of the potential barrier. The height of this potential barrier is largely exceeding the total energy possessed by the particle. Classically, these particles will be occupying this region only. There is no question of any particle coming to this region by penetrating or not penetrating, by jumping or hopping over this barrier, since the total energy is less than the potential energy or height of the potential barrier. Yeah, this I will have to extrapolate like this. Now, in the language of WKB approximation, there are two classical turning points, say x1 and x2. But unlike a bound system, here the potential to which the system is subjected exceed that of the total energy in this region. So this is purely a non-classical region, whereas region 1, see this one, region 1 and region 3 are purely classical regions. If you have already a particle here, it can be found here, of course. However, once you have particle only here in the region 1, there is no question of classical particle that is being found in this region 3. However, quantum mechanical particle always have this capability of penetrating through the barrier. Of course, the extent of penetration will be depending upon the height as well as the width of the potential barrier. If this barrier is having an infinitesimally small thickness, as in the case of a tunnel diode, definitely these particles will be able to penetrate through the potential barrier, corresponding to even an infinitesimally small accelerating potential being supplied. Now we will look into the problem in the sense that particle penetrate through the barrier so that a population of particle could be found at this region 3 as well. So the particles that are found in the region 3 are at the expenditure of the loss of particles in region 1. So there must be a connection between the number of particles crossing or propagating through unit area normal to the area in this region as well as in this region. This count, that is the number of particles passing normally through unit area, is referred to as the particle flux. If it's only the total number of particles crossing unit area, not perpendicular to it, this is what you call fluence. However, here we will be making use of the concept, say, flux, number of particles crossing normally through unit area. Suppose the particles are moving from left to right in this region 1, then at this interface or at this classical turning point, a population of particles might be reflected back to the same region, whereas a small population of particles manages to penetrate through this potential barrier. As they reach at the second classical turning point, another population will be returning back, and if the particles do have sufficient energy, there is a chance that particle will be penetrating into the second classical region being labeled as a region 3. So in region 1 there could be particle moving along both left to right direction as well as from right to left direction. The particle flux from left to right corresponds to incident flux, whereas that from right to left corresponds to reflected flux. Whereas in region 3, there can be only particle moving from left to right, and this is nothing other than the transmitted barrier, transmitted flux of particles that have managed a successful penetration through the barrier. We will make an analysis at the end of which we will make some qualitative arguments that will be involving those factors which decides the transmission probability for tunneling. So basically our aim is to evaluate the transition probability, which is the ratio of particle flux transmitted to that of incident. We will represent the particle flux by the symbol, say, J, so that J with subscript TR represent transmitted flux of particles, whereas J with subscript in represent incident flux of particles. So our primary aim is to evaluate the transmission probability for tunneling, or the so-called tunneling coefficient, or the so-called transmission probability. And if you are interested, you can evaluate the reflection coefficient. This is also referred to as transmission coefficient. If you are interested, you can evaluate the transmission probability for reflection or reflection coefficient, which is the ratio of the flux of reflected particles to that of incident particles, Jr by Ji. As long as WKB or the applicability of WKB is concerned, we will be interested in evaluating the transmission probability. For that, in region 1, as I have already told you, it's a classical region. The solution, the WKB solution will be oscillatory, and there can be particles moving from left to right as well as from right to left for a positive wave propagation as well as a negative wave propagation. Plane progressive wave propagating along both the directions. So this is represented using pure WKB wave function. A1 by root p e raised to I by h cross integral x1 to x p dx prime. I hope you recall that while writing the WKB wave function, we will be taking the reference point as the turning point. Plus b1 by root p e raised to minus I by h cross integral x1 to x p dx prime. This represents a plane progressive wave propagating along the positive x direction, and this represents a plane progressive wave propagating along the negative x direction. So clearly this corresponds to the incident flux, whereas this corresponds to the reflected flux of particles. I told that correspond to, not equal to. It's a representative. The flux will be evaluated using the wave function, that I'll tell you very shortly. Whereas in region 3, there is only wave propagating along the positive x direction. So we have only one choice for this representation, which is represented as a3 by root p e raised to I by h cross integral x2 to x pd x prime. Now, as I have already told you, transmission probability for tunneling is the ratio of the flux of transmitted particles to that of the incident particles. And flux of particles by definition is the number of particles passing normally through unit area. Number of particles could be evaluated using the particle density, number of particles per unit volume, into length covered per unit time, which is nothing other than the velocity. So particle density into velocity give rise to the particle flux. And this can be evaluated from the velocity parameter or the momentum parameter. We assume that, this can be taken as, say, rho, the particle density, into momentum, or square root of momentum, whole square, provided you take the assumption that there is no question of any change for the mass of the particle if it is reflected or if it is transmitted. That is true as well. So that we can take this in terms of, say, momentum, or I can state here that it is the velocity, which is nothing other than the momentum, since there is no question of any change for the mass of the particle due to reflection or refraction or transmission. Similarly, this velocity of incident particle, and rather than velocity, the momentum magnitude of incident particle, transmitted particles and reflected particles are assumed to be exactly equal in magnitude, because this process is strictly on the basis of the conservation law of linear momentum, which is a very fundamental law as long as any branch of physics is concerned. In every kind of process, this total linear momentum will be a conserved quantity. And again, we assume that this is an elastic process. There is no question of any transference of energy, as well as these quantum mechanical particles are very truly satisfying these conditions and are able to obey these considerations as well. So the velocity parameters are exactly equal. You can omit these parameters, or you can cancel these parameters from the numerator and denominator. So what remains is the ratio of the incident particle density to that, ratio of the transmitted particle density to incident particle